Hey y'all, this is Miss Barr again, and today we're going to be talking about the different forms of numbers. This is 1.2 in your Go Math book, and today we're going to be focusing on the different ways that numbers can be written, and the different forms that they take. So if you remember, there are three different forms. The first is standard, the second is word, and the third is expanded. Today's video is going to be a little bit longer as we go a little bit more in depth with what each of those forms is and what it means, as well as we're going to do some practice at the end. Switching between the different forms of numbers to help us practice. So let's get started. The first one we're going to talk about is standard form. And standard form is when we write numbers using numbers. So this is typically what you would think about when you see numbers. So for example, when you see the back of Odell Beckham's jersey and it's 13. 13 written with a 1 and a 3 is the standard form of 13. It's written using numbers. When you see Baker Mayfield 6, that is a standard form of 6. It's written in numbers. When you see, 152,596, that is the standard form of that number. So it's numbers written using numbers, what we would typically think of when we think of numbers in different forms. The next is word form, and that's exactly what you think it is. It's just numbers written using letters and words. So, for example, Odell Beckham Jr., 13, written in word form, okay? 6, written in word form. 27, written using letters and words, is another example of word form. So word form is just numbers written using letters and words. Nothing more, nothing less. The next is expanded form. Now, expanded form is a little bit different. In expanded form, we're actually stretching a number using the value and place value of each of its digits. So this one's a little bit harder to see and think about just from looking at the definition. So that's why we're going to give you a couple examples. The first example let's do is 5,236. Okay. The expanded form, this is the standard form, 5,236 is the standard form. It's written in numbers. For expanded form, we're going to take the value of each of these individual numbers and stretch it out. So 5 is in the thousands place. I'll put my 5 down just like we practiced in the last video. 1, 2, 3 zeros behind it. 5,000. My 2 is going to be worth 200, so I put 200. I drop my 2, count back, there are 2, so that's when I got my 2 zeros. Plus 30. I put down my 3, there is 1 behind it for 1 0, and then 6. So what we did was we took our number and we stretched it out and made it bigger based on each of the values of each of the numbers. The 5 is worth 5,000, the 2 is worth 200, the 3 is worth 30, and the 6 is worth 6. Another example of that would be if we had like 105,259. Okay? We look at the 1, we drop it. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 zeros behind it, or 5 numbers, so I would put 5 zeros for 100,000. My 0 doesn't have anything, so I can put a 0 as a placeholder, or I can leave it alone. Plus, once again, we have 5,000 plus my 2. There are 2 numbers behind it, so 200 plus 50 plus 9. So once again, we took our standard form, we took our form of a number, and we just stretched it out as far as we could based on the value of each of those digits inside the number.